It's interesting to me that so much of Christianity was spread by slaves. Patrick was taken as a slave from England into Ireland, where he was all alone herding sheep, and he had been in a Christian family, but really don't take religion too seriously, Christian family. And he started taking it very seriously.
Rome, a city of incomparable beauty. Thousands of years of history have unfolded here, with only the remains of bygone eras left to tell its story. But what a story it has to tell. We begin our story in AD 410. Rome has fallen to the Visigoths. Many of the Romans believe they were being punished for turning away from the pagan gods. St. Jerome laments the empire's fate.
From the west, a terrible rumor came to us, that Rome is besieged, that the safety of the citizens is redeemed by gold. Despoiled and again surrounded, they lost their wealth and now are losing their lives. The voice cannot continue. Sobs interrupt its words. Captured is the city that captured the world.
Suddenly, it seemed as if the empire was collapsing. It was a very bad moment for Christians, and because it forced Augustine in particular to have to think what it meant, because there were non-Christians around him saying, look, this is what happens if you ally the empire with this Christian God. It's disastrous. Out of that came that extraordinary book, The City of God.
St. Augustine's words.
They lost all they had, their faith, their godliness, the possessions of the hidden man of the heart, which in the sight of God are of great price. Did they lose those?
The very center of the Christian world had collapsed, and the young religion in Europe would now face 1,000 years of relentless attacks. Time after time, it would appear that the divine tapestry in the making would be torn to shreds. The Black Plague would kill nearly 30% of the population. Politics and theology would create a great schism, splitting the church in two. Later, the Crusades and the Inquisition threatened to fatally wound the spread of the gospel. Even the attempts to reform the faith would tear the church apart again. As St. Augustine predicts, the story of Christianity is just beginning. There would be troubles and challenges ahead, but there would emerge women and men whose faith literally transformed the landscapes around them. Some of these heroes you may have heard of, but we've uncovered remarkable stories that you've never heard. Let us start our journey in Canterbury, England, with a young woman named Bertha.
Bertha was a Christian princess in France. Can you imagine as a young girl being given in marriage to the pagan warlord Ethelbert of Kent, who's the biggest fish going because he's swallowed up all of the other minor warlords? And we can tell that she would have been a royal woman in the Merovingian court. And if you ever wanted the Game of Thrones come to life, it would be Merovingian court politics. They would kill anybody in their way. And so for a woman to stay alive and keep her integrity and to have a key role to play herself at this period takes an awful lot of strength of character and resolve to actually have the courage to keep bringing the subject of your faith to the forefront when the expectation on your husband's part is that you will fit in neatly and actually just get on with his way, his worldview and his pagan religion. And she did a good job, did Bertha. She nagged and nagged and nagged and nagged and nagged until St. Augustine was invited over from Rome in 596 to actually come and meet the king. He goes with Bertha, he meets him in Thanet on the Kent coast, meets him outside, because if you meet him in a building, he might be able to put a spell on you more effectively. Bertha and Augustine do a really, really good job. Not only do they get the permission to come in and preach to the people who are now camping out in the old Roman city of Canterbury, they get given a little tiny Roman mortuary chapel, a crypt if you like, to go and start worshipping in. And from there, Augustine builds his mission. If it hadn't have been for them, keeping the flame and fanning it into life again, then we wouldn't have the Archbishop of Canterbury now. So I think these little human stories of acts of commitment and bravery and taking those risks for your faith is inspirational.
Bertha and Ethelbert's legacy lived on. Their daughter, Ethelbert, married King Edwin, converting him and his royal court to her faith, thus bringing about the conversion of the entire pagan north of England. It is astounding that a person who left no speeches or writings and passed no laws could have had such a profound impact on the spread of Christianity.
This set of islands, Britain, Ireland, you get some extraordinary figures moving beyond the frontiers of Christianity. The most obvious example is a very late Roman, probably of the 5th century, called Patrick.
It's interesting to me that so much of Christianity was spread by slaves. Patrick was taken as a slave from England into Ireland, where he was all alone herding sheep, and he had been in a Christian family, but really don't take religion too seriously, Christian family. And he started taking it very seriously. And after several years of that, he finally managed to escape.
We've got two precious documents from Patrick, one of which is basically a sort of autobiography, Confessions, in which he tells the story of being captured by Irish slavers, taken to Ireland, learning about Ireland, escaping home.
He ended up back in England anyway, and he was really a devout Christian at that point. And after he got home, he had a dream that someone from where he had been in Ireland was saying, "Come back and convert us."
In the knowledge of this faith in the Trinity, and without letting the dangers prevent it, it is right to make known the gift of God and his eternal consolation. It is right to spread abroad the name of God faithfully and without fear, so that even after my death, I may leave something of value to the many thousands of my brothers and sisters, the children whom I baptized in the Lord.
He wasn't the first, but his effect was extraordinary. And now we remember Patrick as the originator of Irish Christianity.